Hi all. So welcome to another day on this JMeter training. Uh, Recap. So we have started end-to-end recording with best practices, right? For first scenario, that is product booking. Uh, so we have talked about this stationery documentation, document preparation, then end-to-end recording of the end-to-end flow with best practices. Then we started the announcement and we have done few steps, right? Then in announcement we completed few steps. Then we uh, have talked about dynamic values, correct? So like what is that, uh, right? Then I'll explain more the types important. Types I'll explain, but we have talked about their importance, functionality, how and why they occur, and how that is important. Fine. So let's start. Operation where dynamic value is not dynamic value and how to handle. Fine. So yeah. So starting with the dynamic values. So we have talked about what is dynamic value. We have seen in details where they occur, how they occur. Correct. We have seen its importance, right? And all other things. Let me start. Change the parameter. Change. Okay. So till JMeter start. So now one thing. So in dynamic value also, right? There are different types. Okay. Means their name can be anything, and that all depends on application to application, right? So if you see here in our pet store application, their name was JSession ID. One name was JSession ID. Then another name was FP value or source page value, right? FP value. So one was FP value, one is source page value, right? So see, name can be anything. It depends on application to application, and value changes. So do not focus on that, right? We do not have to remember also the name and other thing. We have to just understand the concept. Like you see alphanumeric stuff, right? That is dynamic value because these are and it is very easy now to identify them because this is not understandable, right? This is not we cannot understand. What is this? Can we understand? It's not related to my application behavior or application functionality. Correct? Neither it's occurring in my application UI. So yesterday also when I was showing in the UI, these all values I was showing that were there in network tab, right? They were there, correct? Uh, and they were passing also when we were sending the request. Right? We have seen in sign in or in login. I have shown you, right? But that time also I have shown that those value are never shown here. They are never seen here. They are hidden in the code, right? The code, the source code or the text, the response code that comes. We do not see him, right? So any value which is related to my application, maybe it's a request or some value, the this values or the order ID or the this product ID, you can understand, right? That is understandable. Okay, what is this? That is product ID. It's visible here. Order ID is there, transaction ID is there, like that. Everything is there that is visible. You can understand. But if this is occurring, then what is this? And this is occurring, right? This we see that. So you can understand now that is a dynamic. Simple. If that if that value we do not see on the application UI, so that is will be always a dynamic. Plus it has a nature. It has a very peculiar nature that it will be of alphanumeric in nature. It can be very small also. I'll show you example. Very small. It can be very big as well. And yeah, and you see random numbers that is how you can identify. So it's not very hard and very tough, like after my explaining this. Now, depending on application, so one thing about them is this value you will never see in the application UI. UI is called this. Here you do not see. That always happens in background, and it happens for every application. Mostly for every it will happen. Every application will have dynamic value. Remember, every application. Okay, will have. Some can have very complex dynamic value. I'll show you that also. I'll be I'll be going to show you. Some can have the simple dynamic value like this pet store. It has not much, but in three transaction, it is having a dynamic value, right? One is sign in, then one is login, and then one is enter details and continue. So it all depends. Okay, some application can have very simple dynamic value, even in real time. Not like real time in my company, I'm working on a project where in every request there is only one dynamic value, and that is same. So it happens. Only one is there. Okay, and it passes with every request. In header, it passes. So I'll be explaining all this. So only one is there, and it is enterprise, a very big application. So it all depend on some application can have every transaction. It will be having different and it will look very complex. So I'll be showing that example. Some will be like simple. So it all depends. There is no hard and fast rule for that. Remember, we have to just understand the concept. Okay, that is a dynamic value, and we have to fix it. Very simple. Okay, that is what we have to understand. That we have to find the dynamic value and we have to fix it. Fixing is what? Extracting the value, like I have uh, explained yesterday, extracting and passing, right? So that process is called correlation. That's now it whether it can be any application, whether it is simple, hard, let it, let it. Now, so main thing about this dynamic value are you will not see them in application UI here. They will be happening in backend. Okay, and that's why this kind of dynamic values are called as real dynamic values, real sense dynamic or conventional dynamic value, or they are also called authentication tokens or authorization tokens. Okay, authentication and authorization. Why authentication and authorization tokens? Because I have explained that if you are not passing them right with next request, if that dynamic value is not passing back, the new dynamic value is not passing back with that request to the server, server will not entertain that request. Means that it will not accept. Entertain means it will not accept that request. Very simple. So it's kind of authentication token, right? Authorization token or authorization value or authentication value, because it is acting as a authorization, right? Authorization or authentication. And their main observance is you'll never see them in UI. Remember, they generally do not show up in the user interface of the application. In UI, in the UI of the application. Okay. So, application, right? That is their main way to identify. Now their name can be different. Like somewhere it can be system ID, somewhere it can be CSRF token, somewhere it can be bearer access token, somewhere it's the view state ID, somewhere it's Aura token, non-CID, SML value, cookie values, timestamp, UID. These all are comes under these all are like dynamic values, right? So their name can be anything in our JPEG. So their name is like source space value, FP value, right? So do not bother about name and the values. That can be depending on application. It can be anything, right? But few names you can find common. That's what I've seen. Like sometimes many places you'll see bearer access token, CSRF token. You'll see this in most of the application. These are there. Okay. Means their name value will can be anything, right? Value changes. Name you will see bearer access token, CSR token. That will be there in many applications. You will see their name. So that's why I've just kept them. A .NET application can have name with view state ID. Okay, non-C token. In Salesforce application, some name you'll see Aura token. Okay. So SML value also. So that is there. So these are few common names which uh, sometimes we observe in some many applications. They can be common, but again, even if it is not there, do not worry. Okay? You have to just understand and fix it. That's all. Now there are second type of dynamic values which are called non-conventional or business-related dynamic values. So these values uh, we see them or they generally show up in the UI. The- In the, they do not so these one are they do not show up in the application UI. They generally show up in the application. Okay. So this value like customer ID, order ID, bill number, P&I, transaction ID. So many are there. They are also dynamic value. They are also considered as dynamic because they also changes. Like you see, product IDs are there. Then order ID. When we book order, every time new order gets generated, right? So order ID like this. So you see, these are also dynamic value, and they are like they are non-conventional. Means they are application related, so they are called non-conventional or business related because you will see them in applications, right? And these are not that much of important. They we have to work on them also to fix them, but that they are not much of importance, right? So that's why they we will talk about them later on. First, we'll talk about this one because these are important. If we do not fix them, the main thing is that request will not only will not be accepted. That particular. So, like OTP, no? If you are not sending correct OTP or the OTP that we have received, that transaction will not happen. Very simple. Right? So, like now, okay. So done. Next. So with this we'll talk later on. First, we'll try to see this. Them because this one is the main. Now, how they come, we have already know. They always come first from server side. Why they come? Just to make the application secure and unique, right? Okay. Secure. Why we should bother about them? That also I have explained. Because if we do not send the new value, which is received in previous responses, right? Uh, that transaction or that request will not be accepted. So we have to bother about it. We have to work. Now, where this dynamic value occur in the script. So for that, see, like yesterday example only. So this is browser, this is server. So we send, we did one transaction, some transaction, maybe it can be any transaction. Right? So request meant, which is request body. Now response comes, response, response header, this GV1. Now, after that, suppose you are sending one next transaction, right? So T2, T2. So again, one more request will be fired, like this. So again, that request body, uh, request header, and plus that same dynamic value, we have to pass it back to the server. Okay. Now understand that in 95% of cases, remember, in 95% of cases, dynamic value always they comes first from server side only, right? In response, Now, in that only also in 95% of cases that will be present in response body. In response body. And in 5% of cases, it can be with response header. It will be there. Right. Now, when we do the recording, where we see them with the requests. Why? Because they when we do the recording, that time they are passing with the request, and hence they get captured, and that's why we see them in the request body, right? So there are three places where we can see them in request. One is request URL. Request URL. Okay. Another is request body, and third one is request header. Request header means somewhere this will be passing back to server. So somewhere it will be passing, right? Like here I said it comes from server side. So there is no special place it will be there, right? It will be there in 95% of places, cases. Sorry, 95% of case it will be there in response body, means that will come as a part of response body. In 5% of case it can come in as a part of response header. We know, right? Response is divided in two parts. Now, when it is passing back to server, there are three places in which they can occur in response body. So, response body consists of that request URL, right? That URL, and if payload is there, so that is called request. Request body. Sorry, again, huh? So when it is passing back, so request, right? So there are two types. Request is divided into request body and request header. So it has to pass with any one of these, right? Any one of these two, correct? So request body is divided into two parts: request URL. You know what is request URL, and then payload. If some payload is being sent, so that is request body. So either in request URL or with request body, this dynamic value will be going back to the server, or with request header. In some application, in request header also, it passes back to the server. So these are three places where we can see them in the script, right? And so that's what in three possibility in the request of the script, dynamic value will be passing and needs to be correlated and parameter. Dynamic value may pass in request body, right? It may pass in request URL, or it may pass in request header. So I'll be showing you the example of all three. And as I said, it always comes from response, from server in response, right? Previous response. So it can be present in either response body or response header, but 95% of cases it is there in response body. So now let us talk about examples. So first, our pet store. So in our pet store, if you see, it's passing in two places. In sign in, that is in URL. So this is request URL. And in login and here enter details and so in login it's in payload. That is what request body you can say, parameter or payload, right? And in enter detail also with the payload. So we got two examples, right? Now I'll show you other example. So okay, before that, one more thing. See, this can occur in any transaction. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule that hey, like you can ask me, hey, well, will it occur only in sign in, or only in login, only in entered? No, it can occur in anywhere, depending on all application to application. Okay, so again, remember there is no hard and fast rule. In any transaction, it can occur. Sometimes it can occur in every transaction. Sometimes it can occur in every request. Like just now I told that there is an application in every request that values passes, and that value passes in header, and that is called bearer access token. bearer access token generally, that is a very famous authentication token name, which is common in many applications, right? So it just occur one time and it passes in header. In one of the header that will be there will be name called bearer access token, and that value will be passed with every header, and that will be same means only one value which will be occurring anywhere either in login or somewhere, means server will be sending back in login, and then all other consecutive requests, consecutive means all other requests which is after that in header, that value will be passing, and that is only one value. So fixing it is very easy. You have to just find it and just paste it. So we'll see. So that time only one value in all transaction or request. Sometime in some particular places, like you can see here, especially then here in login, it's there, and enter details it's there, right? Only three places. Now next I'm going to show you more complex one. So that video. So this is a old application. Actually, I have kept this. Then I do not play this because it is a real enterprise. Real application, all application look like same, but it's a project application. Like you will get any application. So so I'm putting a URL here, everything, and then we'll see. Right. So that so from that URL it got redirected to another URL. So that is called redirected concept. So homepage launch was having two transactions. Even I'll show you that script is there, but that is the application. Right. So first URL, if you see the main URL is this, and like when we put in tab, then it from this it navigates to another URL. So that is redirection, right? We have talked about redirection. You can see here, it's thing I did. You can see this was the URL. Then it is redirecting to another URL. So same transactions. Transaction can be same. It's homepage launch, but in homepage launch only there are two URL redirects. Means two requests is there, and they are getting redirected. So it after that it comes here. Then here we have to put the username and password. Right? So after putting the username and password, I'm putting the username and password. Then again, so that is again 3-4 requests are there related to embedded resources also. So it's coming on this page, right? Then again, so it's look, see, view is simple, right? Nothing is there. Home page on, then we put the login, and we came here, then we have to click on start this, I think. Yeah. Okay. So and request we can see here related. Just to show you, I think I have done this. So this is the I'm doing the recording. Uh, Start new case. Right. One example I'm saying. So this was a very complex actually. Application looks very simple. You see, like home login, and then we are clicking start new case. It's there. After that, a new page will come. Here we have to fill in some details, right? You see here, some details are there as usual, and uh, so I'll put the transaction name and I'll fill them. Correct. And yeah, it's getting recorded. So filling, then clicking, then some stuff comes here, and we have to choose that. We have to choose on that, right? You see, fill littles and find product coming. Okay. Now, now I'll show you the script. So you hope you got the idea. 4 transactions are there. We did 4 transactions, and it looked very simple. Right? Nothing was there. Like as usual, here a form was there. Fill the data. Then one more transaction was there. Clicking this button. After filling this, this will become enabled, and we will click that, and then one more stuff will come here, which we have to select that also. See, this become enabled. Once you click this here one stuff is coming. We have to just click on that, right? So sometime like previously I've said that on one page also there can be 2 transactions. So one transaction was like filling this. So once you fill this, then this become enable. Page is same. Then another transaction is clicking on that. So then another request will fire, which will bring this, right? So on same page also, sometime 2 transactions can be there. Many time what we have seen that every transaction changes whole page, right? And one transaction can have multiple one request or multiple requests. But many time on one page also there can be 2 or 3 transactions. Like first transaction when we clicked on start new case, we came here and then we are filling this. After filling this, this become enabled. So then we are clicking on this. So that is next transaction on the same page one. And then this is getting enabled, right? So and we have to click on that, select this. So that is next time. So it looks very simple. Like all applications are like that. They look simple. Nothing is there. Where but working is preparing the script is uh, like that is main thing. The application scripting can be very easy. It can be very tough. This application is very tough. I'll show you. Tough in the sense, very much complex work is there. So it was looking very simple. Nothing was there, but uh, uh, same thing recorded. Same script and same those 1, 2, 3. See those 5 transactions, launch, login, and start new page, then fill detail, and then after filling detail and find product, clicking on that, then one more stuff was coming. I select that, right? Selecting that. So total 5 transactions. These 2 transactions are on the same page, right? This direction. Now, what is complex in that? Right? So see, uh, is it visible? And zoom just one. See, project application, no, real company project, no one can bring it, but somehow I have recorded that. Just to show you like every application, whether you are working on pet store or you are working on like that, we have demo any like no commerce adapting hotel app, right? Or that banking app, or that application which I've shown. They all is application only, right? And everywhere we have to just everything starts with coding. So should not worry. What we have to learn is preparing the script, right? And in that, what thing we should do, correct? So I've shown you the application. Now let us see. So launch, right? So launch was having 2 requests, right? Remember, one request was this, which I was putting in URL, if you remember. Then it was redirecting to this. This. So only launch was having 2 requests, correct? In 2 requests also, in the second request, you see there is 2 dynamic, state ID and non-C ID. Well, name I'm taking, right? You can see here, state ID and non-C. See here. Now it means that. Now, what is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is these 2 values were sent back by the server in the response of this request. This I'm talking about only launch transaction, remember. So how complex this application was, right? So as I said, dynamic value can occur in any place, in anywhere, in any transaction, depending on application to application. So that's why I have kept this to show you guys like while teaching that sometime how complex the application is. So in launch only, you see, launch only, there are 2 requests. First request look very simple, very simple. Second request has 2 dynamics. and these two dynamic value are sent by the server in the response of first request. I'll show you that. And they pass back with the second request to the server, to the server. And then only this launch will properly happen, remember. Now in browser, it will be automatically handled, right? We know that. Even yesterday I've shown in JPET store how it is getting handled. But now if I have to run this script, I have to send the new value because these are the old value, right? So new value I have to take from core whenever I'll be running and I have to pass it. Then only proper launch transaction can be completed. Understand? Even see a small launch only can be properly completed only if this is handled. Launch, simple launch. Okay. Because this application was really complex. Sometimes it happens. Some very banking application, insurance domain application, they are little complex. Complex in the sense of security. So these are what these are actually security tokens. They are actually security tokens, right? So in launch only, you see, and I'll show you. So I'll open the recording log as well. So this two value, anyone, state ID or non-state ID, whatever. Just click state ID, Control C, and I'll go to 4 because it will be in response only. Yep. This is 4. Request is simple and response. And I just said 95% of cases, those value will be sent from server side in response only, right? And in 95% of cases in response body. So here you have to put the value and find. So put that value and click on find. So that will be highlighted. I'll show you. It's not getting highlighted, but it is here. Somehow, maybe something I missed in copying, but do not worry. See, state ID. Okay. See, here. You can just verify a few words. Like you see, X, D, Q, whatever. You see this part. It's here or not? Actually, it's very big. It's starting state equal to this EY and this till all here and till all here. So I'm just showing you at the end. You see, this is see it's there. Starting EY, JY, it's there. I can. And that was end. Now non CID. This is non CID. Let's see, that non CID is here or it's here. It means what? Like again, when I'll be running or will be running. So in the first request of launch, in this place, like a state ID or non-CID, again, these two new value will be, server will be sending new value. And that new value we have to take and pass here so that those new value can pass. And then only the second request can be properly accepted by the server. And then only proper launch will happen. Otherwise, launch only will not happen. Forget about other transactions. Happen means request will be accepted, right? Because launch only if that request is not getting accepted, what about other? We cannot send them, right? There is no point. Okay. So next, so you see in launch only. Now next login. So hope you have seen that I was putting username and password, and then we were doing the login. Now in login only, there are around 3-4 requests are there. But no need to worry. Like sometime I just said one transaction can have one request, one transaction can have two requests, right? Some transaction can have multiple requests. That is there. We have to just identify them and keep them, right? So how to identify? You have to just do the homework before recording, right? And you can put that in Notepad or Excel sheet so that it is easy to identify. Right? Now, here login. So username, password, you see. Now in request URL, do you see a value here? See, this is the URL. and this is the value. Very simple value. See, 5-digit value. Very small. Many people can ignore also, but this is a dynamic value, and this is in URL. Like I have told, right, that values can pass in 3 places, and that is what we are trying to look into, either in body, URL, or header. So in our pet store also we have seen this is URL, this is body or parameter. You can see this is also body. Here also first in launch this was for body or parameter. Right? The same thing. Here it's in URL and it's so a small value. Do you see? And it's dynamic value. Now, if we do not, it means that in previous response, so before, like we see this in request number 12, means when we did the recording, like when I did the recording of this script, so at that time with this request, this value got passed back to the server, right? Back to the server. So it means that in previous request, server has sent this. Remember, you have to think like that. So which is previous request? So before 12, what are they? 4 is there and 5 is there, right? So either in response of 5 or in response of 4, response of 5 or response of 4, server has sent this value, and then that value was passing back to that server with this request in request URL. And generally there is a thumb rule that 90% of cases it will be in immediate one, immediate previous. So before 12, immediate is this one. And I'll show you also. Let us copy this value and let us go to 5 in recording. This is 5 and I'll put that value here. Let's see here. I'll ask me how to identify dynamic value, how to be sure whether this is dynamic. That I'll talk about. Do not worry about it. Okay. So you see, it means that we have to fix this also. It means that here next time in 5 in this place a new value will come when I'll be running. First in see how these are dependent. We have to understand. See, first launch first request from where 2 value is coming in the server is sending 2 value. Those 2 value we have to pick and send back here, right, to the server. Then only proper launch will happen. Then only this request will be properly accepted by server and server will send the response. Now in that response again there is one value server is sending which is passing here. See. So if this is not happening successfully, this will not happen successfully. Understand? Right? Because this value is occurring here in response of this. And this is dependent on this. Here two value will coming and we have to pass in this. And then only this will go back to server and server will send us the response. And with that response, that value will come, which we have to pass here along with username password. See, username password is there. Many people think username password is important, but in real time now as a performance tester, you are those who are aware that is fine. But out of we have 14 people in this batch, right? 15 people are there. So those who are from performance background, they will know. But many people who are not from, you will be getting this thing new, right? Like how in network tab these things are happening, and we are not aware. Many people think, oh, username password is important. No, uh, username password is there, but apart from that, you see these are something which is more important. Okay? Cookies are there. How cookies is so much important, I have explained in cookie session. These are dynamic values. Username password is there, that is always there. But if you this is not passing or correct, we are not passing this value which server is sending the new value here, will this request will be accepted even the username password is correct. But if this value is not handled, right, means the new value which server is sending here, you are not picking and passing it in, this will not be accepted. And if this request is not be accepted by the server, I mean server will not send the response and login will not happen. Okay, will not receive the response of login. Simple, it will throw error. So this is how these things are important. So you see, and this dependency also, you see here, 2 value is passing here, then server is sending 1 value which is passing here, and then login will happen. We'll get a login response. Okay. Then there are many other value also like that also. So here you see one more value. After login, then we have one value, and it is occurring in many places. So sometimes, as I said, one value can occur in many places. So this value is one time it will come, and it is here, here, here. It is there in all every request URL. It's same. You can see. Right? It is. Then there are some other value like in field detail. You can see CRSR token. Then there are client ID, and here event ID, state ID. This all. So they will be occurring somewhere in previous response. They are sent by the server and they are passing here back to the server. So you see how this is very complex, right? So many values are there. But here also we have to work like we have to fix one by one. Like starting from one, this two we have to extract from four and pass it. And how to pass that is what we will be learning. Then from response of this, we have to extract this value, new one, and pass it. Add new one here. Same way, this value will be coming maybe in response of this or maybe in response of this. I can see. Right. Global search. Login. Here it is. Somewhere it is there. Will see some stuff is missed in this recording. So somewhere it is there. This is very old, so I have actually this you see this is long back. 2020 I have captured the 5 year back. Okay. So something I have missed. So but yeah, this value or some request I might have missed. So like that, even this value I try to find. There. Here it is. This year. Since I have done maximum. Yeah. This is CSR and this is in which request? Request number 66. So it means that it is in response of 60. Where is 66? Here. So in response of 66, that CSR value has came, and that value is passing in 89. See, in the request. Hence, this big value that you see, it is present in 66. Server has sent in the response of 66, and it is passing here. So it means that next time we have to extract the new value because new value will come. Always new value come. We know that, right? So that CSR name will be same. Right? Name will be same. Name will be same. New value will come, and that we have to pick and we have to pass it here. Same way, there will be this client ID. There will be event validation ID, state ID. So sometime in one request only, you see there are value present at four places, four dynamic value we have to fix. One here, one here, one here, one here, and this is also dynamic. So it's there. Sometime in one request it can be only one. Right? Sometime in one request it can be two. Right? So one by one we have to fix everything. Okay. So this is example of value passing in URL in URL, right? URL here also, here also, and body, right? Body, uh, body, right? Body here, all this value are in body, and URL also, right? Okay, and this is an internal application which I promised in our course content. So I have shown that as well. Scripting also. This is a script, and the video that I played, right? If you remember, those transactions were looking like very simple. There was nothing in that. Correct. Homepage was getting launched, and then we put homepage was there. Then we put the username, password, and then we click on start new case, and then this. Then we are filling this, and then we are clicking on here, and then we are selecting this one. This one will come here, selecting this. So that is fourth, fifth transaction, selecting a version. In that also dynamics are there. So uh, so what is the main thing is that we have to work, and we have to fix them, and we have to understand. Now, next thing, like in header, right? So I'll show you an example of header, how value processing header. Sometimes, as I said, in header also value can pass, and that all depend on application to application, right? Like how value are passing in URL we have seen, then body we have seen, right? Now, one example of header. So here sign in as offered. The username and password is there. Some other stuff, some stuffs are passing in body. This is authentication to Microsoft. And this was login happening. And in login, then one value will come in response. And that value is passing in all other subsequent request in header. See, here, request ID. And there is a value. Okay. And that will be there in like header also value can pass. And one same example which now I'm talking about, that currently in my one project, generally bearer access token, right? When you do the login, right, then that will come in response, and with all the that will obviously everything comes in response one, all value. So this bearer access token will also come in the response of login, where login is getting done. And after that, whatever transaction you will be doing, with every request in header, this value gets passed, means header. So this is bearer access token. That is the behavior of general behavior. So like that, some other value can be there. So this is one example I'm saying, request ID. So here you see login, we put the login and other thing. So proper login will happen, response will come. In that response, this value will be there, which is here. And after that, with all this request, whatever the request we are doing, not only this, after signing some other transaction we will be doing, right? So with every request in header, this value will be passed. Only one common value. So a value can pass in multiple places also, in many places, one single value. This is easy to handle because we have to just do fixing one time, right? But if the value are many, like this example, here two value, all different. So we have to fix one by one. This one, then same way for this separately, one by one. Yes, yeah. What is the query? Hello, I'm not able to hear you. That's what I'm saying. No, no. every request will have header manager automatically. And hmm. I'm understand. I'm getting you. No need to that. We will just do a replacement. So one time replacement using control. So I'll be teaching you. Do not worry. So everywhere that value will be replaced. So no need to add separate header manager because already header manager is there and that value. You have to just do a replacement. No, header manager it will always come. Don't, with any application it will come. If without header manager, the request will not pass. Every request has that particular behavior. Headers will be there. Even though we can check it offline, right? So not a problem. But right, and plus we can add the headers additionally. We can add a global header manager, right? That is there. What you are asking, and you can put those parameters with every request those passes. So we can do that. Okay. So these all are so this is all about dynamic. These are different names you have seen. So there are many names like in this application, their name is like many name can like here this value name request ID. Uh, some name are there or some other different names are there, right? Here also we have seen this value doesn't have any name only, right? Here also this doesn't have any name. Then here suppose this value is name called CSRF. This value has a name called client ID. This has name event validation state ID. Like that, these two value have name state. So name can be anything, value can be anything. Do not worry on that. Go there, right? Just understand. Okay. Fine. Now, so we have understood like why, where they occur in this like three places, and in response, they will be always coming in response. We know that, and 90% cases they will be in response body, and in 5% case it will be in response header. Next, how to identify them, right? So that will be a big question. So identifying them, understand that now I have shown you so many examples. So now you will be master who identifying this dynamic value. But sometime dynamic value can be very tricky and people can get confused like the dynamic value which is here. Even I got confused when I was initially recording 5 years back. This application is like I was working 5 years back in one. At that time I take it like, because this was a very complex application I have seen in my career one. Okay, so I kept it. Means just I kept it as a stock to make you, people understand. Even for myself also to remember, because only finding this value took me 5 days. Okay, means you see everything I fixed, and that time I was almost in 5 years back. Now I'm having 8 years of experience. So five deduct five. So that time 3 years. That time I was working here. So that time little new, right? So this value I was missing. Means eye contact was not going here. You see, it is hidden. So it is hidden here. How carefully a 5-digit value is hidden here, and normally everyone can escape. Okay, so that is what we have to work very efficiently, right? Recording replay is not the main thing, like we have seen, and you will see people teaching in YouTube and other thing. It's not like that. Scripting is very complex stuff, and 50% work of scripting is about fixing the dynamic. So five my whole week, like almost 5 days, I was frustrated. Like I fixed everything, and then also login was not happening just because of this small thing I was not able to see. Okay, and now from then till now I remember this, right? So that's what, see, big value anyone can, eye catching, these are eye catching, right? Now I've shown you so many examples. This value, or let us say this value, eye catching, alphanumeric, a dynamic value, anyone can understand, right? This value alphanumeric, anyone can understand, this all alphanumeric, anyone can understand, right? But sometimes this small value can also be there, which can, people can miss, right? People can miss. So I now, as a beginner, so now you got idea, like in 70% of cases you can identify that you will see this value in the request, maybe in request URL, request body, or in request header also we have to check. Okay. So for this application, in header there is no value. Even in our JPET score in headers, there are no such value. In header only, see, as I said, it all depend on application to application. In this application, it was in header. In current application, the bearer access token is there, which is in header, on which I am working. A bearer access token generally has a nature of passing in header one. So all depend on application. So if they are big, it will be eye catching. But what if this kind of value is there, right? So see, so how to identify this dynamic, right? Even in normal people can get confused also whether this is dynamic value or not. Many people can ignore it. What is it is something not required, not a dynamic value. Then how to be sure, right? How to be sure? So see, the best practice is, first of all, like I have shown you guys so many examples. So now you'll be by looking only, you can tell, okay, this dynamic, this dynamic value, fine. But as a beginner, what is the best practice? So best practice is record the same scenario, record the same end-to-end scenario or the flow 2 times by changing the user input or the user selection, and then compare both the script for the changing data or values. This will uh, this will very much help in finding the changing conventional and non-conventional dynamic value efficient. So what you have to do is, as I have said that in beginning also, that at least first time try to take 2 credentials, 2 username and password from the person who is giving you the job. Like job means that project, right? So whoever is giving the project, initially take 2 credentials. That is important. And record same flow. Same flow means let us say pets flow only. So start from end to end. Same flow. Suppose one time we recorded. Now one more time you record it. You can save this file like we have saved, and you can close this also, and then again record one more time. When you record one more time, then and when you are recording the next time, try to change another, take another username password, and try to change user input also. Like user input, let us say, suppose first time we in first recording you have chosen fish. In another recording, try to choose dog, right? Like that, change the inputs as well. But flow should be same. And then you open both the script side by side. You can open 2 JMeter, not an issue. Always you can open 2 JMeters or 3 JMeters. And so I'll show you. And so I have one more JMeter. So the same flow I have recorded 2 times. I'm just keeping them side by side. And like this you can do. And then one by one you can check. So suppose this is launch. So if you see launch first request, uh, it's not visible, but it is there because I've just shown. See, it's same. I'll just expand and show you. So, so hope you see it launch same flow I've recorded. The same flow, same stuff. Login also same. If you can see, and then field detail all are same, right? Now, so that is there. Now I'll just sort this so that we focus on those values. So this is first launch. This is launch. Now you see in launch, do you see anything changing? You do not see. Fine. So it means that we do not have to worry anything. Now next request of the launch. Now here you can see. So when you compare, you will get that. Okay, you see this is not changing. This nothing is changing here. These all are same. Now your eye will come here. Okay, these all things same. These all things same. These all things same. Only thing there are two values, and that your eye will catch. Okay, this is change. Here this is change. Name is same. You see, name will be same. Value will change. Here it is changing. So now 100% sure this is dynamic. This value will also, if you see, uh, it looks same initially. Sometimes this dynamic value are in such a nature that few letters will look same. I'll show you. That is first value from first recording. And this is from second. So if you see till here all same, you will see, and you can get confused as a beginner, but I'll tell you. See here only till here it looks same, but after this it is changed, right? Okay. Till here, till here, till here it is same. After that is so dynamic value can also be confused. Sometimes initially because they are big, so here full you cannot see them because it's hidden, right? So only when you copy them and you put it in notepad and then you compare. So initial part looks the same, but it can be confusing when you go towards the left, right, you'll see the value changing. So likewise, these two value are also changing, right? Next, login. So now if you come to login, you'll see all this same, all this here I'll come, but all this same, right? All this same, all this. But here I will catch. This is different. This is different, right? So dynamic. Okay. Then comes one more value which is in URL. This value which I put, right? It is passing one. This is in every URL, right? Multiple places. But this is different. In one recording, this was something. This is one. Another same recording. This is something different. And this value is there in multiple places. It is there in every URL. This is there. Here also it is field details. So that is there. So one value can occur in multiple places also. Now come to here CSR token. Suppose fill in details. CSR token that I said. You see, this is different. Okay. These are user inputs. So the user inputs means if you remember on that page I was filling something. So that is user. Yeah, this date, age, gender, name. I'm filling this. So this thing has been captured here. See bank, name, gender, all this thing. So that are user input. Ignore them. User input you'll get this idea. But apart from that, you see this client ID. So then uh, these two values they are also changing. This value looks again initially it looks similar, but if you go towards right, it will change. Right. So like that. So this is the way to identify dynamic values. If you see that it's very complex and you are not able to do that, or it is confusing, so just record the same flow 2 times by taking 2 different username and password. And if required, try to change the user inputs or user selection as well. And then compare both the scripts side by side, request by request, and you will get the idea. That is the only way. Okay. So so if like when I did like this, then only I was able to find this. Otherwise, 5 days were wasted uh, for me to just get this script work. Okay. So I was beginner 3 years back, like 5 year back. At 3 years experience I was working. So I was learning the thing like that. Fine. So this all training, what I am doing, it's all from my experience. I have made this all PPT. Next, yeah. Sometime if you do not have two different user and password, no need to worry. You can use same user and password. You can take and just record the flow 2 times, but change the user inputs or user selection and then compare this. Also, a header manager, right? We have to always check the header manager whether any value is passing in header manager or not, because header manager are hidden, as I said. Normally header manager is hidden inside the request and people can skip it, right? Skip it. Okay, people can forget it. But as I said, depending on application to application, value can pass in header manager also. And one example I have just shown. So also verify header manager for whatever application you are working. But remember, if any value is passing header manager, that is very easy. Only one value will be there, and that will be repeated. So one time fix is required, and I'll show you how that one time fix is done. Means like suppose this value here, this value which is in URL. You see this value. This is a value which is dynamic value which is changing. But if you see every request in URL, it is there. So it's one time value, right? One time. So one time fix will be needed. So using Control F, we will do like I'll show you how to do all those. So we'll do Control F, we'll do search and replace and find replace all if you do. So all value, same value wherever it is that will be. There. So all we are coming to that how to do this correlation. That is what fixing. We'll be learning that. Fine. Okay. Sometime you can take some third party tool to compare the value or data. Sometime like this def checker or text compares are there. So these are online tools which def checker is there, or we have the text compare or a code compare software is also there. So we can use this tool to compare some data, like which data. So sometimes this dynamic value can be very big. So from one, so you'll if you are getting confused, like I just said, right? Suppose this value, if you are getting confused to compare them one by one. So if you put them like one, you put it in this one and uh, another you copy and put it in this one and then click on find different. So that time it will say, yeah, both are not same. It will highlight them and then you can compare them. So sometimes dynamic value can be big more than this. Okay, like yeah, it can be more big. Okay, sometimes it can come till here, 3 4 lines of. So that time comparing one by one can be difficult. So you can take help of this or text comparison. Or the software also comes code compare. Like you can take help. This is text compare. Here also you can put the text and click on compare. They will help you compare. Now comes the main thing, like handling, right? How we should handle them or how we should work on them. So that is what the main thing. That is what finding the values, doing the correlation, means extracting the value and passing it to the in the request. Extracting the new value from previous request, from the response of previous request, and passing in that request where it is passed, the new value. Right? So that is what correlation. That is called correlation or handling the. Now correlation means relating or handling the dynamic value in our script from that of response. Or it is also can be called extracting the dynamic value from previous response and passing it in the next subsequent request. And that is called correlation. Okay. Now, how this extracting? I'm repeatedly saying we have to extract the value, right? Because every time when we run, as I said, see the JSession IDs, which is here. So it is server is sending that in response of 16, right? So when we replay, this is 16, and you see that same value, it's new one server. Now we have to extracting, right? And we have to pass it here in place of the old. So how that extraction is done, right? So to do that extraction, there are some elements given in JMeter. Those element name are called extractor elements, and they are part of JMeter post processor element. Post processor is the main name, and post processor element has all these sub elements called regular expression extractor, JSON extractor, boundary extractor, XPath extractor, CSS extractor. Okay. 5 are there. And out of these, only 2 are important and which we will be using. And in that also, this is very important. Regular expression, first priority. And its name only you see extractor. Means this element will help us in extracting that. Okay. So regular expression, JSON, boundary, XPath, CSS. Now remember, as I said, in this we will be using regular expression in almost in every case. Generally and most importantly, use always prefer this as a first priority. Only when the response is in JSON format, okay, or REST API, then we use JSON extractor. So response are of 3 types. Remember, the code response code that we receive, this code, this code, this is response, and these are 3 types. One is HTML, right? HTML response. So this all is HTML response. You can see here it's written. Whole it's all HTML code. One is JSON response, and JSON response is also called as REST APIs, response of REST API. Okay, and another one is XML response. So for XML and HTML, to extract any data from XML or HTML response, we will be using regular expression. And if the response is in JSON format, uh, it looks very simple, very clean. Even will in API testing, we'll see them. Okay. The JSON format. See this JSON response. See how it will look very clean, very. It will be having some name and values. Okay. So like that, this response. So that time when the response are in this formats, we use JSON extract to extract any value. Like any value means uh, suppose you want to extract this acronym called HGML, right? So how will we be extracting this? So we can use a regular expression also, or we can use JSON extractor. But JSON extractor is given for that purpose only. When response are JSON, or apart from that, we will be always using this one. And this is in a special case when the response data is in JSON. This we do not use. There are boundary, there are XPath, CSS. But XPath, CSS, you have to learn that it's very complicated also. This is used in Selenium testing, in JMeter and performance testing tool. We do not need it. They have given, but not really. They have limitation also. They consume high memory and processing consumption is there. Boundary extractor is also there, but it is very simple and it has also limitations, right? So very efficient is regular expression, and in a special case, JSON. And all these are parts of post process. So if you right click anywhere you right click, and you go to add and you go to post processors, you will see CSS, JSON, see all these extractors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as I said, we will be using this one, regular expression or JSON. JSON in a special case, and this is always okay. And we'll be understanding more. There will be interview questions on any complex scenarios. Everything will see. One is boundary, that is simple. I will just explain it, but it is simple in nature. It has limitation. So those all we will not use. Fine. Now, how to do this? Okay. So I have written here all above extractor has same functionality. Basically, they extract a value from response, store it in a variable, so that it can be used in subsequent requests. Right. Then uh, features of boundary, XPath, and CSS extractor have limitation uh, compared to regular expression. Okay. Now, how to do this correlation and parameterization in JMeter? So maybe I think we'll be covering this tomorrow. But yeah, just a glimpse. So starting, we have to start with one by one. Like first, identify the dynamic value one by one in the script from top, means from first run, and deal with one at a time. Okay. So we have to suppose starting from top. So let us say home page, and you see in home page nothing is there. So fine, let it be. And meanwhile, you check header manager also. Okay, nothing is there. Okay, fine. So remove that. Come to enter store. In enter store, also we do not see anything here. Neither in header manager we see anything. Fine. So no need to work here. Sign in. Now when we come to sign in, we see a value in URL. So we found our first value. And meanwhile, I'll check in header. Header manager is not there. For this application in header is not there, but actually we should verify because every application will be having different approaches, right? So you can verify header manager. It's hidden and we have to always. So in header manager, nothing is there. Here it is. So we got our first value. So as I said, written, identify the dynamic value one by one in the script from top and deal with one at a time. One at a time we have to deal. So we from top we are coming and we have identified one value. So now we will deal with one at a time. Dealing means fixing it one at a time. So we have found it. Now from tomorrow we will do a step number. Okay, because it will be late. So yeah, from tomorrow we'll see correlation of dimension dynamic.
Hello, Venkat
Yeah,
sir. My doubt is not regarding this. Actually, I wanted to discuss with the scenario. I pinged you on the WhatsApp. Just
just a second, Matson. Just a second, Matson. Visakha, please speak little loudly. I cannot.
oh, okay, okay. I'm audible now.
Your
Am I?
that doubt, no, which you have pinged in WhatsApp.
Ha
Is
ha
it that?
yes. Ha ha yes
Okay,
yes.
so what we can do, we can connect tomorrow, maybe holiday. So
Ha.
and then I can see, right?
Sure sure.
Hmm. So you ping me tomorrow and we'll connect and
Sure. At what time I can ping you?
anytime at afternoon after 1 p.m.
Sure sure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And next, yeah, Matson. Hmm. Hmm. Mm. Mm. I've written, yeah, I've written here also, like boundary structure, it's a load runner concept. It got introduced in JMeter from version 4. So huge difference is there. You'll see that slowly. You'll get idea because boundary extractor only works when a value is left boundary is fixed and right boundary is fixed, right? That time you can do. But what if there are a special case we will be talking here, right? So then suppose escape character is the new line. If there is dynamic value boundary, left boundary, right boundary is changing. If there is no right boundary, right? If varying left boundary, right boundary, then what you will do? So in that case, if there is no left boundary, right boundary, then what you will do? So that time it will not work, right? So yeah. So when I'll talk about this, then you'll get idea that why boundary extractor will be. Okay. Bye. All take care. So maybe we'll meet on Monday. And yeah, we'll meet on Monday only, and then we'll continue from there. Actually, I have to prepare available. Okay, fine. Bye.